Okay, excuse me. Now we're going to talk about composition of functions. Okay? And this can be a little bit more complicated than adding and subtracting or multiplying and dividing functions. Because sometimes we're going to take one function and put it into another function to come up with a third function. Okay? So let's take a look at what this might look like. All right? So let's say we have f of x. Let me get my little cheat sheet here. Is equal to 2x squared plus 3x. And g of x is equal to x plus 1. Okay? And we want to find this composition. Now, let me tell you what this means. Let me tell you what this looks like, okay? This means f of g of x, okay? So what it means is we're going to take g of x, which is right here, and we're going to substitute it into f of x wherever we have the x variable. Okay? So let's take a look and see what that looks like. Okay? So we want to take g of x, x plus 1, and we're going to substitute it into f of x. So we're going to have 2 times the quantity x plus 1 quantity squared plus 3 times quantity x plus 1. Again, all we're doing is substituting x plus 1, or g of x, into f of x. Okay? Because if you look at what this says, 2x squared, okay, plus 3x is what we have right here. Now we need to carry this out. 2 times, well, x plus 1 quantity squared becomes x squared plus 2x plus 1, plus we can go ahead and distribute here, 3x plus 3. Now let's distribute here. Whoops. Okay, now we need to clean this up. Do we have any common terms? 2x squared plus 7x plus 5. Okay, so the answer to f of g of x is 2x squared plus 7x plus 5. Okay, let me give you a moment to take a look at that. Let's look at another example. G of x, 6x plus 8, and h of x is 5x minus 6. Okay? And we want to find, let's say we want to find the h of g, looks like hog, doesn't it, of x. So we're going to find the hog of x, h of g of x. So we want to take g of x, the second part, which is right here, and substitute it in for h of x. So we have 5 times, that's going to be our new x, right? 6x plus 8. Don't forget the rest of our expression, minus 6. Okay, so now we distribute 30x plus 40 minus 6, 30x plus 34. And that is our answer to h of g of x. Now, let's take a look at g of h of x. Okay? So something different. Okay? We're going to switch them around. So we want to take our h of x, which is 5x minus 6, and we're going to put it into 6x plus 8. So we've got 6 times 5x minus 6 plus 8, 30x minus 36 plus 8, 30x minus 28. And there you have it. Okay? That is composing functions. All right? Now let's take a look at something just a little bit different. One thing I want to say here, though, before I change to the next screen is notice when we're taking the function of a function, we end up with another function. That's very important to think about, because in this next example, we're going to take the function of a numeric value. Okay? So let's say we have f of x equals 2x squared minus 1, h of x is x plus 4. Okay? And we want to find the f of h, my example I've worked up here, of 2. Now, notice the difference here. When I go back to this screen, I took the h of g of x, or the g of h of x. So I was taking one function and putting it into another function. In this example, I'm taking an actual numeric value and putting it into the function. Then I'm going to take that result and put it into the other function. I know that seems a little bit confusing, but let's work through this. It's really not too bad. So now we want to take the h of 2. In other words, what's the function of 2? Okay? So we go up here, we have 2, all right, plus 4, which is 6. Well, that's pretty easy. But now we've got to take 6 and substitute it here in for x. So we have 2 times 6 squared minus 1, 2 times 36. So we have 72 minus 1, 71. So the function of the h of 2, or the f of h of 2, is 71. Notice that when we're taking the function of an actual numeric value, we end up with a numeric value. Whereas before, we took the function of a function, ended up with another function. So function leads to function, numeric value leads us to a numeric value. Let's do one more example. F of x is x minus 5. G of x is x squared. And we want to find g of f of negative 3. The g of f of negative 3. Okay? So I want to look here. I'm looking right here. It's all I'm focused on right here. This little spot right here. F of negative 3. So I go back up here to f of x, and I have negative 3 minus 5, which is negative 8. Now I want to take negative 8, there's a different color here. I'm going to use negative 8 and put it into g of x. So now I've got negative 8 squared, which is 64. So that is my final answer. So the g of f of -3 is 64. Okay? Now, I hope that is not terribly complicated. Remember, if you have any problems, send me an email. I'll be happy to help you.